While biofuels may be green gold for our state's ag producers, it's an issue that goes well beyond our economy. Simply put, there are significant national security reasons to be concerned about our dependence on foreign oil. And no one knows this better than the former director of the Central Intelligence Agency, James Woolsey.
They can understand, as bin Laden clearly does, that one of our great vulnerabilities stems from the fact that 2/3 of the world's proven reserves of conventional oil lie under the Persian Gulf, and therefore much of our future oil supplies will come from there because its production costs are low, and also much of the infrastructure is there. Fatwas from imams in Saudi Arabia friendly to al-Qaeda announce the importance of attacking the oil infrastructure. Al-Qaeda has tried twice now, once in February of '06 and once about 6 months ago, to attack the oil infrastructure. Had they succeeded in the attack that they tried in February of '06, and they really failed more due to their own clumsiness in assembling their truck bomb than anything else, they could have taken some 5 or 6 million barrels a day of oil offline from this one attack in Saudi Arabia for well over a year. It certainly would have driven oil up to around $200 a barrel. So any morning that you wake up and oil is not at $200 a barrel because of a terrorist attack in the Middle East is a pretty good day. But then you have to go to sleep that night thinking that during that night you might wake up the next morning and it might be different.
Woolsey spoke to those attending this year's GROW conference, and I had the opportunity to sit down with him one-on-one. When did biofuels change from an economic issue to a security issue for our country?
I think they've been a security issue since at least October of 1973, when the Saudis cut off our oil because we were trying to keep Israel from being overrun in the Yom Kippur War. And I think they've been a security and an economic issue. And increasingly in recent years, to a lot of people, they've also been part of the global warming debate because they help, some a little, some a lot, with reducing the amount of carbon we put into the atmosphere. So they're all three.
I had a commissioner from the EU tell me that the United States was really missing the boat by not looking at nuclear. How do you feel about that?
Well, the United States has looked at nuclear for a long time. We haven't built nuclear power plants in some years. We've got about a quarter of the world's nuclear power plants. But we haven't built them in some years because Wall Street wouldn't invest in them because of 3 Mile Island and the need for insurance. The debate now in Congress is how much of the insurance costs should the federal government pick up. But I think this moving toward plug-in hybrids and toward biofuels does not necessitate more power plants. Pacific Northwest National Laboratory has done a very good study. It says you could have 3/4 of the cars on the road be plug-in hybrids before you need a single new power plant. So I think that with energy efficiency, with moving toward renewables and perhaps building some nuclear power plants as well, we can do a much better job than we're doing now with respect to generating electrical power. We may, in time, be able to sequester the carbon from coal-fired plants enough underground that may prove to work, but it's going to take some years and billions of dollars to check out, that a form of coal-fired power plants with carbon sequestration could also be in the future.
And that does seem to make sense here because we do have a tremendous amount of coal in this country.
We have a lot of coal, but you know, we and everybody else also has a fair amount of sun, and the cost of generating from your roof is going down a bit every year. For example, it's about 25 cents a kilowatt hour now from the most advanced photovoltaics on your roof, and that's lower than the price for peak electricity in California. California's rates are about double the rest of the country. Some California rates are up at 37 cents a kilowatt hour. So already in part of the country where sun on your roof can replace some of your peak power electricity, and that trend is going to continue as photovoltaics get cheaper and more efficient.
But again, a very competitive industry because Europe has several mandates trying to move to complete solar.
Right. The Europeans, even though they don't have as much sun as most of the United States, are pressing very hard, as is Japan, on solar. And one of the things that says is that some of the new solar panel efficiencies are getting better and better, so they're useful even in cloudy climates such as northern Germany or Japan.